What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today's video we're going to look at the origins of the grandfather of all conspiracy theories, the Illuminati, which I sort of view as like a nexus point. Like, you can link any other conspiracy theory that exists to the Illuminati. You know, like if we look at chemtrails, for example. Actually, you know what? I know that there is a Wikipedia page that just has, so if we just search conspiracy theories, I think there's here we are. Right, so there's aviation, business and industry, deaths and disappearances, economics and society, espionage, ethnicity, race and religion, extraterrestrials and UFOs, government, politics and conflict, medicine, science and technology, outer space and sports. And you could link any one of those back to the Illuminati. So like chemtrails, for instance. Nice quick one we'll detail as our example. So this theory alleges that water condensation trails from aircraft consist of chemicals or biological agents or contain a supposedly toxic mix of aluminium, strontium and barium under secret government policies. An estimated 17% of people globally believe the theory to be true or partly true. In 2016, the Carnegie Institution for Science published the first ever peer-reviewed study of the chemtrail theory. 76 out of 77 participating atmospheric chemists and geochemists stated they had seen no evidence to support the chemtrail theory, or stated that chemtrail theorists rely on poor sampling. But if you believe in that conspiracy, it's not hard to go, oh, secret government, that must be the Illuminati's doing. Like, they're trying to put chemicals in them. And whether you believe that it's, you know, that it's fatal gases that they're putting in there, or maybe those chemicals combine to make some sort of mind-altering substance that makes us easier to, you know, like more suggestible, to make it easier to be like, vote for this person, or eat from this brand, or whatever it might be that they're trying to influence you to do. Chemtrails just makes that easier to do, because you breathe it in, chemicals get in your brain, you're suddenly more suggestible, and then they can be like, you want this, don't you? And you'll just be like, yes, I do. Well, I just connected something that is otherwise, when you're looking at just the conspiracy theory on its own, not connected to the Illuminati, and I just connected it because the Illuminati is a name given to several groups, both real and fictitious. Historically, the name refers to the Bavarian Illuminati, an Enlightenment era secret society founded on the 1st of May 1776 in Bavaria, which is today now part of Germany. So we've got an actual date, May 1st, 1776, which means we know for a fact that at the very least the Bavarian Illuminati existed. Their goals were to oppose superstition, obscurantism, which is essentially just trying to it's the practice of trying to present information in a certain way that's usually not accurate, but in such a way that the person asking the question of you, to which you are providing an answer, feels that they have been adequately, like their question has been adequately answered, so they won't ask more questions. So Their goals were to oppose superstition, obscurantism, religious influence over public life, which at the time the church still had quite a significant hold of what happened in the public space, and then any abuses of state power, which is the government. The order of the day, they wrote in their general statutes, is to put an end to the machinations of the purveyors of injustice, to control them without dominating them. So it wasn't a case of we want to be on top, it was a case of we think these people need to be put on watch by a panel of the public. You know, these people should have to, while lawmakers are up here making the laws by which we have to live our lives, and they should also have to answer to us. You know, and like public opinion sort of thing, so that, you know, they're not like, oh well, I now have absolute control over how people can live their lives, and I don't think this should be allowed, so it's now against the law to do that. You know, and then going out of the way to be like, and anyone that tries to do it, which is now against the law, is going to receive the death penalty. Like, you can go too far very easily when you have absolute power. So the Illuminati, along with Freemasonry and other societies like the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, were outlawed through edict by Charles Theodore, who was the Elector of Bavaria, with the encouragement of the Catholic Church. So you've got a person in government being encouraged and supported by a religious organization, religious institution that has its own, let's be completely honest, its own agenda, its own hierarchy, and they're trying to take down the people opposing them. They just have the power to vilify them and make them, you know, the bad guys. Like, don't listen to these people, they're trying to lie to you. We would never try to lie to you. Yeah, tell that to the magic man that rose from the dead. But they were outlawed through edict in the years 1784, 1785, 1787, and then finally 1790. So in the end, the Bavarian Illuminati only really survived 8 years before they started getting outlawed, and ultimately 14 years by the end of it all. During subsequent years, so the 1790s into the 19th century, the 1800s, the group was generally vilified by conservative and religious critics who claimed that the Illuminati continued underground and were responsible for the French Revolution. Now, if they did go underground, they were probably also responsible for things like the gunpowder plot. Actually not entirely sure what date that was. Gunpowder plot. No, never mind. That was the 1600s. That's before their time. Ignore me, just making assumptions. Many influential intellects and progressive politicians, right, keeping in mind we're looking at progressives here, counted themselves as members of the Illuminati, including Ferdinand of Brunswick and the diplomat Franz Xaver von Zach, who was the order's second-in-command. It attracted literary men such as, I would love to know how to actually pronounce this guy's name, but it's Johann Wolfgang Goethe? Is it just Goethe? I know it's got a weird pronunciation. It looks like goth, but with E's, just thrown in the mix. And Johann Gottfried Herder, and the reigning Duke of Gotha and of Weimar. In subsequent use, Illuminati has referred to various organizations which have claimed or have been claimed to be connected to the original Bavarian Illuminati, or other similar secret societies, though these links have been unsubstantiated. These organizations have often been alleged to conspire to control world affairs by masterminding events and planning agents in government and corporations in order to gain political power and influence and to establish a new world order. Central to some of the more widely known and elaborate conspiracy theories, the Illuminati have been depicted as lurking in the shadows and pulling the strings and levers of power in dozens of novels, films, television shows, comics, video games, and music videos. Because our entertainment, the thing that allows us to switch off and disconnect from the real world, would never lie to us about real world events. You know, and I'm best friends with Captain America. So that's sort of the base of it. There is more that you can read. Link is in the description. But yeah, I just think it's interesting that coming from something that was originally created by, you know, people who would have otherwise just have been members of society, like just part of the public, in order to make sure that government didn't have absolute power, because absolute power corrupts absolutely, to make sure that the church and religious institutions weren't, you know, dictating how people could live their lives, because if we're being completely honest, with all of its denominations, even the religion of Christianity, right, the church of Christianity, with all of its denominations, even it can't agree what's canon and what's not to its own religion. Like, you know, there's some people who still to this day think that the Old Testament should be the one that we follow, and that the New Testament's just like, yeah, no, this is just sort of like the historical account of like Jesus's life. Like, that's what that bit is. But this first bit, that's what all of like the rules of the religion is set, and for, you know, a good portion of it, sure, that's fair, you know, but you've got to also realize that, like, the first book in the Bible is literally just mythology. Like, that's just how Christians believe the world came into being, right? If you want to look at it, it's essential to scientists believing that there was just a massive concentration of matter that suddenly exploded, and that the 7 days actually just represents 7 stages in which, you know, certain pockets of gravity just accumulated molecules around it until they were planets, or burst into stars. The Greeks thought that there was just this primordial deity floating in a void who all of a sudden just had 2 children that represent nighttime and darkness, and that their children were light time and day, and then they spawned essentially the primordial 4 elements, who then, you know, became the world and became the sky, became the oceans, and then the one representing fire just became the underworld for that moment in time. And then there were the Titans, and then the gods, and then the gods created man out of, you know, there was like the Golden Age, the Silver Age, the Iron Age, the Heroic Age, which is where all of the myths take place, or a large majority of the myths take place, and then the Iron Age, which we're now in. That's how the Greeks thought of it went. So you can't really look at Genesis and be like, yeah, no, that makes a whole heap of sense. By the same token, though, there are a lot of very interesting parallels between pretty much every known religion. Like, for instance, Greek mythology also had a massive flood where only one man and one woman survived. So you could look at that as being like Noah and his wife. Knowing that his sons survived and they went on to make 3 separate races of men within their bloodlines. But realistically, that's all just Noah's bloodline. So it's the one race of man still. And for the Greeks, that was Deucalion and Pyrrha, who were the son and daughter of Prometheus and Epimetheus. So one of them was the child of the Titan that gave fire to us so that we could create technology. The other was the child of Epimetheus, whose wife was Pandora, who unleashed all the evil upon the world. Like, you're literally looking at Adam and Eve there, where the box is just an apple instead for Christianity. Like, so I'm not trying to roast Christianity, but when we're looking at trying to control religious influence over public opinion in Europe, and therefore in now any English-speaking country, we're mainly looking at Christianity. Not a whole heap of Jews or like early day Muslims exploring the new world. You know what I mean? I'm going to finish this video off with the other link that's in the description. I'm going to give you a little look at it. So it says here, who really controls world events from behind the scenes? Years of extensive research and investigation have gone into this massively documented work in this 624-page document, which is a large format book. Fritz Springmeier discloses mind-boggling facts and never before revealed truths about the top Illuminati dynasties. You'll learn, quote unquote, of the secretive Chinese Li family, which operates with impunity in the USA and around the world. You'll also find out about why JFK and Grace Kelly were killed, the people behind the creation of the UN, who is really in control of both of the US's political parties, how the Rothschilds apparently invented and now control modern day Israel, despite the fact that the Israelites are supposed to be, like biblical times, and who secretly founded false religions such as Jehovah's Witnesses. If it's such a false religion, why do they go door knocking to evangelize? I have also talked about my issues with evangelism before on this channel, so if you want to see that, I can link that below as well. So yeah, discover the amazing role these bloodlines have played and are now wielding in human history with family names such as, and these are the 13 bloodlines of the Illuminati. We've got the Astor bloodline, the Bundy bloodline, the Collins bloodline, the DuPonts, the Freemans, the Kennedys, and yes, JFK, the Lee bloodline, the Onassis bloodline, the Reynolds bloodline, Ryan, say it ain't so, the Rockefeller bloodline, big one from New York. There's the Rockefeller, I think it's the Rockefeller Plaza, right? Square, Tower, I'm sure it's all of them. The Rothschilds, the Russells, and the Van Deuens. So, yeah, interconnected families. If we go down to there, there's 3 there. And look, we can dive into a whole subsection of conspiracy theory here if these are interconnected bloodlines. But the Disney bloodline, the McDonald bloodline, and they've got another one here that's the Krupp bloodline, but you know, I know Disney, I know McDonald's, I don't know Krupp. So, but yeah, there's a whole bunch of like links within this book, which I'm reading online, so it's not really a book, I'm not turning any pages. And there's also the drop menus with the little bits that will give you paragraphs, as well as all of the references on the Wikipedia page, if you want to check those out as well. But that's all I'm going to talk about. I'm going to do what Bucky's had done to his eyes, redact myself. If you are new here, please hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the notification bell as well if you want to be notified when I upload new videos. If you enjoyed this one, please give it a big old thumbs up. Again, links in the description down below and in the comments. Let me know what your favorite conspiracy theory is, even if you only, you know, entertain the idea and don't actually fully believe in it. Which one just tickles your brain the right way, and how do you think that could be connected to the Illuminati? Let me know in the comments down below, and until next time guys, keep your head screwed on.